overweight were rich, excuse me, and the people who were hungry were poor. Today, hunger and obesity are both signs that people are unable to control their diets. They're unable to control, not in a sort of willpower way, but unable to control in terms of being able to access fresh fruits and vegetables, access food that is healthy. I mean, in the United States, for example, it's much harder for communities of poor people, and people of color in particular, to access fresh fruits and vegetables. In West Oakland, for example, near where I live, you have a situation where there's just one supermarket in West Oakland and dozens and dozens of liquor stores where there is no fresh fruit and vegetable, but there are these highly processed industrial foods. Now that's a sign that, in fact, I mean, it would be wonderful for all of us to be able to access these fresh fruits and vegetables, but at the moment, and particularly for people who on low incomes, that's pretty tough to do. And so the environments in which poor people find themselves and which are being built around poor people are more conducive to being overweight and to be unhealthy in the cities. And for poor people in the fields, those kinds of prices that come from the industrial food system are driving them out of business.
Soy. Can you talk about soy?
Soy is the ingredient. I mean, it's weird. It's the perfect crop in so many ways. It's rich in proteins. It's great for the soil. It's really robust. But because the way that we grow soy is through industrial agriculture and monoculture, that process of growing it takes these biological virtues and turns them into social ills. Soy is now in 3/4 of everything, of processed foods on the supermarket shelves, and in almost everything that the fast food industry brings us. Now, soy is, I mean, and it's in these foods because it's very flexible. It can be used as a vegetable oil. It can be used as an emulsifier. It can be used as an additive in meat, for example. But the trouble is, of course, that a lot of the soy that's grown in the world, it comes from Brazil. Brazil is, by some measures, the world's largest soy exporter. And those soy plantations have been encroaching on the Brazilian Cerrado and also on the rainforest. Soy farmers are going into the rainforest, chopping it down and growing soy. And worse yet, Brazil is home to, according to the International Labour Organization, home to 50,000 slaves who work on soy plantations and also the majority of work in biofuels plantations and sugarcane plantations. And it's through the exploitation of these people that we're able to have cheap meat, that we're able to have these sort of food additives that shave a couple of cents off the price of our food. So yeah, I mean, the soy becomes emblematic of everything that's wrong about the way we produce food, and offers hope about the way we might reconnect to food in a different way.
Raj, can you talk about the corporations that have so much control over the food supply? Give us a history from, United Fruit to, well, Dwayne Andreas's company, Archer Daniels Midland, that sponsors so much of the media that we watch today.
Yes, I mean, of course, the history of it in industrial capitalism and food is very long indeed. I mean, the East India Company, for example, the British East India Company was responsible for driving the colonization of India, and of the subsequent imposition of markets in food. But in the 20th century, I mean, the poster child for corporate malfeasance is the United Fruit Company. The United Fruit Company controlled vast swathes of Central America, and it's for their control of that part of the world for growing bananas that we have the term banana republic. And banana republic is a sort of abject case of blaming the victim. These banana republics existed because the tin pot dictators who ran them were in the thrall and responsible to the United Fruit Company rather than actually to the people over whom they ruled. Now, the United Fruit Company found itself in Guatemala, where a democratically elected president wanted to institute just a basic fair system of taxation. And so he wanted to, this was Jacobo Guzman, I believe, who wanted to tax the land at a fair market value. Now, rather than allow that, the United Fruit Company called its friends in the CIA, who instigated a coup. And as a result of that coup, there was a bloody civil war for 40 years. 200,000 people died, and also that we could have cheap bananas. Now, that kind of utter manipulation of international economies is something that isn't just happening in the global South. It's happening right here in the United States.
Raj Patel, author of Stuffed and Starved, The Hidden Battle for the World Food System, based here in the Bay Area. And that does it for today's program. I will be at Modern Times Bookstore in San Francisco with my brother and co-author David Goodman today at noon as we continue our Standing Up to the Madness tour. Tonight in Sebastopol at the Veterans Hall at 6:30. Tomorrow we'll be headed to Houston, and then we're moving on to Albuquerque and Santa Fe on Saturday, on Taos in the evening on Saturday. On Sunday, we'll be in Alamosa, Salida, Colorado Springs, and at night in Denver. The next day in Boulder. Then we're on to Salt Lake City, and we move to Washington on Earth Day. Then we'll be in New York. We'll be in Minneapolis and Columbia as well. That's it for our tour. You can go to our website, democracynow.org.